Hey loves, I'm back, and this time it was a complete transformation. But in this video, I'm not going to show you how I slayed the hair, but I will show you how I slayed the makeup. So if you want to see how I did that, of course you got to subscribe, turn on your notification bar, and of course, keep watching. I'm excited, so let's get started. I'm cleaning her eyebrows, and I'm going to use this Black Murray's beeswax. I love it because it holds the hair in place as I arch the eyebrows. I usually use just a flat razor, and after I'm done arching, I make sure that I clean it up very well with a towel. That just makes sure that I don't have any extra shine or anything before I apply her makeup. Then I go in with my e.l.f. primer spray. I love this primer. I set the face while I do the eyelid. Dabbing with my brush to soak up some of the excess, I'm going to go ahead and start on her eyelids. Now in this frame, you can see where my client's face is a lot lighter than her jawline and the complexion that's on her neck. So when I add her foundation, I'm going to stay more true to her face pigment as opposed to her neck. I want it to look as natural as possible. I want her to be able to still see and recognize herself in the mirror. And then what I'll do around the jawline and the neck is find a medium skin tone in between her actual face and her neck and blend it out. So you want to make certain that you don't alter the skin complexion too much so that they can still look like themselves naturally and not be so morphed into a complexion that's not true. So here I'm just cleaning up with my pencil where I went a little too high with her concealer on the lower lid, and then I'm going in with a darker concealer more closer to her skin tone on the outside of her brow. Definitely want to make certain that we don't leave any halo brows, which is definitely a pet peeve of mine. Then I'm setting with my Sacha Buttercup on her eyelids. This is to help prevent creasing and also so that when I start to use different shades for her eyeshadows, they'll blend out really well. Now with my Juvias palette, I'm going to use these two shades and I'm going to put this right above her crease. This is going to be my transition shades. I'll list the colors that I'm using and the particular palette down in the description bar below. Then right on top of that shade, I'm going to go in with this burgundy shade and I'm going to apply that right on top of my transition shade. And I'm bringing this shade a little bit lower now into her crease. Then with my NYX lid primer in white, I'm going to go ahead and prime her lids and cut her crease. I usually use a flat, medium-sized concealer brush to apply the product to her lid, and then I go back in with a smaller brush, usually a little small tapered concealer brush, just to sharpen the line of the cut crease. With a short, flat, dense eyeshadow brush, I'm going to go into her outer corner and create like a V using a black shade. And this is just going to give me some definition and dimension in her crease area. Then with a flat eyeshadow brush, I'm going to go ahead and start applying the shade to her lid. And this is actually just a base shade. I'm actually going to use a shimmer on top, but I like adding the base of the shadow very close to what the shimmer is going to be. I feel like it gives the shimmer something to adhere to, and it just gives a better pop. The color seems to last a lot longer using this method. And then in her inner crease, I'm going to go ahead in with like a matte shade, a little bit darker than the actual color of the white base, and blend those two out. Now adding the shimmer on top just to give a pop. I'm only adding the shimmer just to the center. I'm finishing up her eye look with some liquid liner, and I will add lashes a little later as that dries. Now it's foundation time, and as you can see, the foundation that I'm using is more true to the center color of her face, but her chin and her jawline and her neck, not so much. And again, you just kind of have to meet in the middle. I'm gonna match the center of her face since that is the predominant color on her actual face, and then I'll go in with some powders and deepen and darken out the outer perimeter of her face and her neckline. Now for her, I'm using the Maybelline FIT ME. I don't recall what the shade was, but it does oxidize a lot darker than what you see here. And then I'm just going under her eyelids, and I am now adding concealer to highlight her face. With my damp beauty blender, I'm going to go ahead and blend out this concealer. And I blended out relatively really good. I want to make certain that I don't have any lines and you're not able to see where the concealer stops and starts with my foundation. I'm setting with my Ben Nye powder, and I chose to use the Ben Nye because it has a more redder undertone, and my Sacha Buttercup would have been a little bit too yellow. So now with a darker shade of powder, I'm going to go ahead and contour. And if you can see in the areas where the foundation is, it has started to oxidize, so it has darkened a lot more than when I initially applied it. And then I'm going to also use this powder to blend her jawline and her neck so that we can get an even transition. With that same powder and actually an angled shadow brush, I'm going to go ahead and contour her nose as well. Now before moving the setting powder from under her eyes, I'm going to go ahead and add her blush. I like the shade that it creates when I do this step, as opposed to removing the powder underneath her eyes first. It just gives a nice warm tone and an even blend. With a flat little tapered brush, I use my gel liner under the eyes. I like using this especially for those who tear up. That's why she has her head back as far as she does, because it allows me to give a smooth stroke really quick and straight to the point, as opposed to trying to use more like the pencils that kind of dig a little bit and make them more sensitive. I'm now using that same brush and I'm dipping it into some black shadow, and I believe that's from my Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm just setting that gel liner so that it doesn't move. Then with a little bit of mascara, I'm going to go ahead and do her lower lash lines. And then I'm going to go ahead and dust off the rest of this powder. Now with a little face powder, I'm going to go ahead back in up under her eyes and the other areas that I highlighted, just to give it somewhat of a shade so that it's not a little too red from the Ben Nye. And I'm making certain to blend out that blush as well. Now although setting spray usually gets rid of the powdery look, in her case I'm using a mattifying setting spray because she has very oily skin and she's traveling, so I don't need that oil seeping through before she gets where she's going. Now I'm retouching her jawline just to make sure that there's an even blend and to get up underneath her neck. And I know the way the camera is angled, you probably can't see the blend as well, but it was spot on when we were done. I've added her eyelashes, and now I'm going to go in and line her lip with a dark brown pencil and fill it in with a nice maroon shade of lip gloss. Here you get a better view of the blend of her jawline. Yes, honey, give them the eye. Now I'm layering it with a clear gloss just to give an extra pop and shine. And then a little highlight just to give her a glow. Since my client was traveling out of town and she has very oily skin, I made sure that I use very mattifying powders and also a mattifying setting spray. I want her makeup to last throughout the night. And this is the finished face. So loves, do y'all remember her before? And what a stunning after. I did the install on her hair as well, but I did not think to record that video, so please forgive me for that. But I do have other installs that are uploaded. And this is the ombre eye look. So if you'd like to see more videos and makeup tutorials, please make sure that you comment and subscribe. And don't forget to follow my social media. Bye, loves.